As per Peter Robinson, ethics is the new competitive environment, and rightly so, because corporate social responsibility sector is emerging as a rapidly growing and promising career domain. However, India Inc. is finding it difficult to find trained CSR professionals who can help them in developing CSR strategies for optimal utilization of the CSR fund. According to Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, more than 30,000 CSR professionals are needed to develop strategies, implement CSR projects, and undertake compliance related to CSR. The CSR regime is undoubtedly gradually evolving in India. Unfortunately, there isn't quality training material available for CSR in India. To fill this gap, today on Lawsikho's webinar with experts, we have with us Dr. Debasis Bhattacharya, India's first PhD in CSR. Dr. Bhattacharya started his career under UN-supported mission as the youngest national advisor (CII) from 2001 to 2010 in CSR and special project. Known as the father of CSR in India, he has introduced and administered MBA in CSR and PhD in CSR program as the founder director CSR Center of Excellence under University of Mysore, which is not even a brief of his achievements and laurels. Sir, we are extremely delighted and honored to have you with us today on this webinar.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So,
So,
what's your program? Tell me.
so we have a couple of questions lined up with us today for you, and we would seek your answers as somebody who's absolutely innocent about the knowledge in CSI.
Yeah, please move.
All right, sir. So my first question is, sir, that you're India's first PhD holder in CSR, and right now you're running a comprehensive MBA and PhD in CSR in the University of Mysore, which is first of its kind. What was the vision behind this?
See, in 2013, the program launched in Mysore University. Most interestingly, the program launched before the law commenced. The law commenced in formally in 2014 April. Rajya Sabha passed this Companies Act, that time Companies Bill, in 2013 August. The program started on 2013 July. To 2013, when I interacted with the potential students who seek the admission in the university specifically for the program in MBA and CSR program, their parents, most of them are engineers. Parents asked that whether the law would come or not. That time only Lok Sabha passed that bill, and Parliament was awaiting for Rajya Sabha's endorsement. See the risk, and our reputed university started the program, and students are coming and asking if the law is not going to be happen. As a initiator of that program, I was perplexed and nothing to say to them. But I believed that time that law would be going to be passed with my small and humble experience. What had happened until the law comes, there was an enthusiasm, there was skepticism. I'm putting aside in different way altogether. The enthusiasm was this, that it would going to connect in a much bigger way with the industry and the community. And this specifically, the CSR clause would going to be a strategy in a business parlance, as one of the vertical of the business houses. That was the envision. That was the thought. Somehow the other way, we passed almost 4 years, 2014 April to 2018, uh, 4 years. In these 4 years, seen that the expectations are growing, but the expectations are not in sequence with the aspirations, and somehow the other way, we are not honest till the way it's supposed to be so far as law is concerned. Just give me a footnote. I'm putting a footnote over here. See, CSR is not a criminal law. We call it, it's a developmental law. It is an inclusive law for the betterment of the society, and in the different mode altogether. India is the first country having this law, and we don't have any precedents for the other country to. In this context, the gestation was particularly put for 2 to 3 years. Now 3 years has gone. We are in the fourth year, and virtually we are entering into the fifth year. It is believed that next year onwards, things would be much, much brighter. Next year is also election year. Frankly, we are talking India. It is our own thing, and probably in a year or two, it is going to take a shape in a proper way, which is supposed to be still the opportunities and other aspects are prominent. It's not that gloomy at all.
All
Yeah.
right, sir. So you rightly pointed out that in the past 2, 3 years we have seen a sudden development. And given the fact that now CSR is a strict compliance after the enactment of Companies Act 2013, where do you see the scope of this going? Where do you see CSR becoming a prominent career opportunity in the near future?
See, Aditya, in particularly in our time, those who have passed in early 90s, post graduations and all, and we have seen the environment grew step by step. Environment as a subject, environment as a faculty, environment as a mechanism of business. We saw it grew step by step. It's very slow. It was the time was very not information age of this time. It has taken almost 15 years to be institutionalized environmental law after the law commence. I'm not contesting and I'm not putting it in context also. Here, CSR as a business strategy, CSR as a business law, CSR as a link with the community and the business is going to be happen in next year or two. In these areas, these are the areas where you need to have welfare business, you need to have livelihood business, you need to have the auditors, counselors, you need to have especially a project guy who understands industry and simultaneously understand the community. You need to have a lawyer who specifically understand the business law in this where the project is flopping and project is achieving the target. These are the areas. It is not only in one box. The several boxes are attached to it. So somebody may be interested in developmental field, somebody is interested might be in the research and the legal field, somebody may be interested purely in the corporate field like the HR is not a law in India. How it has become in a very 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 strong department and subject itself. CSR is a law, is an entity of a department. You have to have a dedicated director with a portfolio of the other guys over here. So that department, you now it going to be set up. In paper, it is already there, but in functionally and in practical context, it's going to be operational. I believe in very soon. But whatever is happening today, it requires, as the latest FICI study, not latest, 3 4 years back, what happened in that study? 85 companies have been questioned. It's a mixed public sector and the private sector, multinational also. Out of them, nearly 52% says that we are unable to spend the money. Then we asked why. They said lack of strategy, lack of manpower, and lack of vision to meet the target of the project. What it indicates? It indicates that you have to have a dedicated people with a proper training. Otherwise, it would not going to be happen. Like in the older days, those who have passed the biological sciences cannot be environmentalist. In context of the environmental law, and after that environmental audit came. It is not the cup of tea of the CA or the other guys. You have to have a professional who with the structure of the government of India that audit to be followed. So these are, I call it, there are five aspects where the job, not only job opportunity, like venture funding, social venture funding. There is huge opportunity for CSR fund to be clubbed with a social venture funding. Startups, huge opportunity for CSR department to come up and support the startups through CSR hubs. There are also opportunity for the development professionals to come up in a proper way where the project can be envisages and connect with the CSR, particularly companies. And company itself has to have its own department, or their department, which requires what you mentioned, 30,000. It maybe at this point of time it's little higher, but it is in my calculation. It's a conservative calculation. You really require 10,000 plus hardcore professionals, those who are groomed in this field. You require them. It is not you have the developmental degree, or you have the MBA degree, or you have the law degree. You can connect it. You need to have a professional university, qualifications, whatever is available in India. That is to be there. That is the gap. That is the gap. Bigger companies knows the gap where the professionals are not there, and professionals are puzzled that where I'm lacking and where to go. So this is the area. It needs to be addressed in a joint forum, not in one sector. That is the opportunity I can see, that five areas where people would be on their choice, obviously can be placed.
So this is in regards with the CSR placement. However, what are the opportunities available today in CSR formal training, which is provided by the university particularly, in parlance with the job and professional engagement?
This is something or the other way. This is not encouraging to say. I was instrumental to start the program MBA in CSR in 2013, and I'm happy that Mysore University is having 60, I believe 60 or 120 seat, and it's been 4th year, three batches passed out. And there is another important thing, NUJS Calcutta, NUJS Kolkata. They started CSR certificate program, and CSR certificate program. I crafted that program, and it is really good for the. It was anticipated that it should be for the. It is called executive CSR certificate program, 3 months diploma course. And we thought initially it could be helpful for the lawyers and the executives, those who are there. But it is really to be helpful for the development professionals, for the other areas, those who would be going to connect, even for the CS, those who are going to be, going to see the proper financials, of a company. So orientations in this field is very, very important, and that degree is it is a certificate, university certificate, although it's a prestigious university certificate. It is good. What another thing, we all know IGNOU. IGNOU is the People's University. So IGNOU is coming up in next year as postgraduate diploma in CSR program. Why? The university circuit, particularly in context of the IGNOU, they understood its demand, and those who are in far-flung areas, those who are not accessible by the university and all, they can be also one of the potential students and potential officers tomorrow. This is the thing. So in a way, opportunity were supposed to be boomed. It didn't take place because obviously the proper curriculum is not matched, and the other universities, those who are, even IITs are open the CSR hubs. But when they saw that NEJS type of university, they already come up with this program of 3 months short-term program for the executives and the to be officers. I feel so this is good, and IGNOU's indications are also good. So at the initial stage, this is appreciating, but not to be happy with that. I thought that other universities, but keeping in mind that a lot of things are going changes these days. Like, I'm not saying particular 2 3 faculties are not doing well. There are a lot of bad university and institutions are closing. So it's good that one only good university or maybe two good universities are conducting the course and populating down the knowledge. It is not with the number; it is with the universities. That's the most important thing. So in a way, it's appreciating thing. I'm again telling, but maybe down the line, 2 3 years, a lot of other people and players are going to be joining it here.
All right, thank you, sir. So my next question is that our lawmakers made a special attempt to make India the first country to have a comprehensive CSR law. However, what we see today is that CSR is not moving with the same pace as it should have. What are your views on this?
Um, you know, there is a small word called intention, niyat. So when we drafted this law, I believe companies bill companies bill is one of the longest tenure Parliament Standing Committee had faced. It was initiated in 2001 and it's being concluded in 2013, over a decade. The person who is to headed this, Yashwant Sinha, so more than 10 years, so he headed that committee. And if CSR clause was not there, the bill supposed to be passed in 2008. It came re-reviewed, re-reviewed, re-reviewed thrice, and it ultimately passed in 2013 in Lok Sabha. During that discourses of Lok Sabha, it was a 5 years discussion, 5 hours discussion, and among the 5 hours, almost 3 hours was a point of reference about CSR, as if the entire company bill is entangled with the CSR only. So, and from Lok Sabha to Rajya Sabha, it was December 2012, Lok Sabha passed it, and it went to August 2013 to Rajya Sabha. In between two sessions, we missed, and there are huge lobby that wanted to protect, that wanted to diminish, smashed the CSR clause. So, who are they? That's not the question. Law is passed, law has come, and we accepted all in our big broad heart. And it was just trying to point it out over here. It was unanimously passed with the Congress and BJP and all political parties, except a few communists and all. It is almost unanimously passed in political circuit. So this gives an intention to us that how the parliament was serious. Now, when who would going to implement it? We have seen in Indian context how laws are in question in, in several areas. Here, companies are trying, but not full-heartedly. It is one of the aspects. Second is parallelly, what government is doing. 3 years passed, gestation time has over. So now we're supposed to have the CSR audit structure from MOCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Like we have environment audit structure by Ministry of Environment and Forest. Until unless this is actually we are working, we are awaiting when this should be going to be. Then we call it rule of law. So there has to be some rule to follow the law. This is one of the things, as you need to give little grace as a country of our diverse sectors and diverse syndrome. I believe this would be going to be, in practical aspect, uh, uh, very soon. Very soon, would going to be happen, and that is only the hindrance point. For the bigger companies, also uncomfortable. Like I told you, 85 companies participated. Among them, nearly 52% were not able to meet the 2%. It is not that the money is less, and 22% overspent. So there are, and 11% just spent 2%. That means 33% they follow overwhelmingly. So with all positive aspects in their mind, there are things, and those who are not able to make it in 52%. It is not that they didn't, they don't want to. It is not. It is also a fact that there are certain restrictions and certain non-clarity issues. Certain non-professionals are there, and certain professional inputs are required. So that concocted to non-performance. So this is the area where professionals, where engagements of the young generations are required. I often call it CSR is a law for a year generation. It is not for us. Those who cross 40, it is not for them. Those who are in 20s and 30s might be my audience, are there over 40s and 40. So don't dishearten. But the thing is, those who are particularly in 20s and 30s, this law is for them. It is purely a next generational law for this country.
So you called a CSR a law for the millennials, if I may say.
Yeah.
So in the same context, what is the volume of opportunities for CSR and job engagement for the millennials in the near future?
See, um, I'm sharing a small story. I had mentioned the environment, how the environment become institutionalized. Now you can find out there are more than 1 lakh environment auditors are available, and formally engaged nearly 60 to 70,000 people. And indirectly, for the environment cause, there are nearly 10 lakh guys are engaged. This is the volume. And environment doesn't have direct implications with the finance. Environment law doesn't have direct implications with the finance until unless fine happens. This is the only law. It's not marketing. It's not finance. It's itself a different ballgame. It's not HR. It's not strategy department. They don't have law that directly financial implications. Here, a company is sitting on 500 crore, 700 crore, 200 crore, 300 crore. Do you understand the value of the director? Half of the ad these days, if you're analyzing, it is all in the social milieu. So you're using your law, particularly CSR, positioning it. Nothing bad. So this is another area. Just one second. So sorry. This is another area where CSR can be positioned in the very first row of the corporate strategy. This guy, the CSR department can be instrumental for HR. CSR department can be instrumental for marketing. CSR department can be instrumental for their own strategy. So, apart from the CSR audit counselors and auditors, you need to have a bunch of different specialized CSR project implementation guys, those who have the orientation in CSR and understand the community as in same space. So here is the gap now. Right hand and left hand, like hand and gloves, doesn't know where to fit. This is the gap need to be clubbed. That is the area where the volume is a one aspect, but the opportunity is another unfortunate area, which is social venture funding and startup funding by the CSR department. So ultimately, apart from the, I call it job and engagement, it is much bigger. It is much bigger. If you're really pushed a startup proper way, then directly or indirectly, you are encouraging 20, 30 guys. And social venture, if a small project engaged more than 10 guys in any given point of time. See, if you calculate the direct and indirect benefit, not the beneficiaries. Here, the beneficiaries, another angle is this: the beneficiaries much in bigger number. It's in lakhs. I call it, and it is an inclusive business angle for the development of the country. This is the only instrument we have. Environment we need to save and protect. Here, CSR, we need to promote and go for the action, which subsequently is going to give us the protect purpose. This is the area where and CSR faculty in next coming days, you need huge number of CSR researchers. Every company requires it. You can't go with the 300, 400, 500 crores of rupees without the forecasting of the researchers and the strategists. You need to have the CSR guys in a different point of time and in regular basis in accordance with your strategy guys of the company's own operation. So it is going to be, basically who are, if a company is profiting 5 crore, 500 crore is the volume of the company, the turnover is 1,000 crore. Just forget about which company, the company who makes 5 crore profit. Do you believe his employees are less than 50? It's a joke. It obviously to be 100. Obviously to be 100. So these are the things when you are engaging with 5 crore, 7 crore, 10 crore in CSR field, you are also engaging in that volume. It is simply a basic arithmetic which gives us a picture that it would going to be a, I'm not saying it a game changer, but it would obviously a game setter. Tomorrow it would obviously a game setter in various angles. In various angles, people often talk about the basic, that school, health, Swachh Bharat, and these are all good things. But the thing is, if you strategized it, it can be much bigger picture and much quick result anticipated. The way youth is envisaging, and they are anticipating. This is a still gap. The way youth is thinking that first moving tendency is somehow the other way restricting the way company is behaving. This two has to have a match, and their policy and government action would obviously going to be held. The way parliamentarians make this thing, and the same way uh, in a different positive aspect, it has to be pushed towards proper operationalization. And there are people, those who are strongly believing it, former cabinet secretary and all. I often talk to them that they are strongly believing it, that there is a gap. There are things to be tightened and fastened towards its proper perspective. There's a perspective gap. I call it. It is nothing that people doesn't want to do it. It would be soon.
So you spoke about the gaps, and I have a question from Supriya, who wants to know that what is required to be done by the government to make the CSR regime more effective.
Okay. Um, a single one-liner answer is, if tomorrow a proper notification comes with a structure of the audit, that henceforth the country is going to have this audit so far as CSR is concerned, then suddenly you need to have thousands of thousands audit counselor. Suddenly you need to have thousands of thousands scrutinizer. Where is the manpower? Although these would going to be, we have seen in the early days of the environment, botany, zoology, whoever graduated in something or the other in the biological sciences, they all worked. Even the chemistry guys are also, worked in, because that time BSc environment, BTech environment was not available. So here also we'll be going to do something, or at least two universities are engaged with, or maybe some orientation program has to be there, something like that. So this is one aspect to make immediately gap to be clubbed.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry, the mic did not work. So, you spoke about the requirement of auditors, and presently the CSR in various companies is being handled by mostly the lawyers or the CSs or the CAs or the compliance officer, whoever they may be. Do you think that there is a need for formal training, although it's already being done by NUJS and University of Mysore? However, apart from that, do you think that a formal training program for such CSR professional necessary at this point of time?
Yeah, what is interesting that even if you give the audit, give the environment audit to a CA, he will do the audit. It is nothing wrong and right. It is the matter whom you are offering the audit. It is not about the person. Is the guy is professionally equipped to understand that where we are standing? Same thing. Who is heading? It does matter. Aditya Ghosh might be a lawyer. He made a story. I believe this is the first time a lawyer become totally, in a different areas, headed the company and make the company proud. It happens in 1 lakh one case type. It's a precedence type. It's not a precedence. It's an example type. But the precedence has to have you have to have a structure. Who hates marketing? Who hates strategy? Who hates finance? Who hates HR? There is a dedicated cell. Who hates law department? If a guy is logical in philosophy, in previous days, an English MA and MA in philosophy, MA in history, they used to hate in industry. They used to hate the legal cell and the personal and welfare department, not welfare, personal department. It used to be the regular practice, but it has been changed in last 20 years, and particularly last 10 years. It's very clear cut that you have to have this understanding. The knowledge base has to be at that level so that you can operate in proper perspective. Again, perspective comes. Again, the issue of the not understanding comes. Issue of the knowledge comes. So therefore, you have to have a proper structure so that compliance is one department. In the government also, they often call CVC the accountants, quote unquote. And you all know that why it is being called. So they are the greatest compliance guy in our structure. So compliance, when the audit would going to be taken place, the compliance would be going to be justified by a knowledgeable person in the field, a CACS lawyer, or a marketing HR, or a simply attached to MD office, a guy who simply can't come and say, hey, it is not, this number should be like this. This is going to be process to institutionalizing CSR at the operational level. It is yet to happen, and it is still nothing wrong. As I told you, the history of environment and the HR, both were not had the degrees of that those days in large canvas. Those days, industry was also less in number. Now the numbers are big. We have booming youths. This is one of the dividend we call it. I fear that this dividend can be channelized obviously if we can put the CSR in operational perspective in a proper way. That would be a great bigger chance that we shouldn't miss this bus. Here, there is a role for the youth also. How many RTI happens? How many Facebook campaign happens? How many other things happen that why things are not where supposed to be CSR supposed to be happen? It is not happening in CSR. In so people still not because of the knowledge gap. In any environmental lacking case, there are thousands of questions and RTI and that type of things happen because people does have the knowledge base so that they can ask the question. Here, it is all presumption. It is all understanding. That limits the contesting feature. You can't contest with an understanding, with a just apparently shallow knowledge base. You have to have the depth of the subject. Then that is lacking, and that obviously is going to be overcome.
Thank you, sir. Sir, although right now we are discussing the role, the opportunities for people in future and today in present. However, one of the major parties that have something to do with CSR are the NGOs. And I have a question from Kshitij Srivastav who wants to know that what is the way in which an NGO can approach to get a CSR fund? What kind of project should they propose in order to get such fund?
See, CSR fund is a very lucid terminology today. It's a very unstructured terminology. In earlier to the CSR law, you can ask a company for donation. Now it is being converted into the CSR fund. Is it? I'm just questioning. It's not. CSR is one of the strategy and one of the pillar of the companies to run. If you're not making profit of a particular volume, you are not coming under CSR. And if you need to float in that volume, you have to have a CSR department to make floating in the perilous of profiting zone. You had to have some strategy and some operational aspect. Thus, you would be in a position to say that I am in this club. They earn it. The donation era has gone. When you earn this subject, when this basically the portfolio to being in that club, you have to be with that space and the steps what they are thinking. So they're utterly disturbed about the fund in a way. Instead of asking the fund, you are using the terminology CSR fund. But CSR fund does exist. It is for there. Most of the companies are seriously thinking, and it is in the process to make their own foundation, so that it would be on their own operation. So they don't want to give it to subscribe to other, but there are certain percentage they wanted to give it to subscribe to others until they are not fully operational and fully able to utilize the fund they have. This is the scenario. Now, if you ask HUL to fund for the construction, they will not give. If you ask ITC to fund for the beyond livelihood project, they will not going to give you. If you ask Infosys to fund beyond the educational area, they will not give you. A pharma company would be much comfortable to give you in the health sector fund. So whom you are approaching for which project and what is the priorities of that company's project. Sometime constituency also is one of the area to ask the fund. So without the Reiki and without the proper, discussions or maybe understanding, asking the fund from a specific company, might be the Nestle, might be the companies those who are more into the chocolate and the child related areas. They'd be eager to enter into the schools. They, but other way, those who are the different areas, like the companies those who are in the computer software and hardware both, they would be much eager to be, training supporting system to the formal and informal setup. This is the trend we have observed. There are 18 areas. Thumb rule is that 11 or 12 areas. They prefer to choose that way. And obviously, if the merit is there, if the integrity of the organization is there, not you to be old organization and that. I'm all for the youth. So if things are clear, you not only fund, you can even ask for the startups, even you can ask for the next stage of the social venturing out of it. So many things can happen, and companies are open to it. Companies are open to it. There are skepticism. I told you, because of the non-structural and non-operational mode we have. That is the thing. But it is not that pessimistic, or something is not to be discussed in a negative line. Thought is positive. Their approach is also positive. They want to do either moving slow, or they are not proactive. This is a scenario. It's to be very practical in nature. It's a discussion. That's a purpose.
All right, sir. Sir, thank you so much for the answer. Abhishek Tiwari wants to know that he comes with no experience or vocation in CSR. How difficult it is for him to make a career in CSR at this point of time?
In which area? Vocational CSR in which area?
CSR in general, he wants to make a career
Actually,
in.
he must to make that. What's his background? It's also important.
So,
Aditya.
I don't really know the background, but I'm expecting or hoping him to be a law graduate.
So it's a bonanza for him if he's a law graduate. He can be in a two-way. He can be engaged. One is that appraisal of the project, and appraisal of the project is very crucial. Uh, it would be better if you can go through the small course with the NUJS. Uh, so you have to have the knowledge that which type of project appraisal should be there, and what is the primary objective and simultaneously ethos of the approach. This is one. Second is, if is a law graduate, he can be always a help to articulate some of the strategic field, which can be helpful to position the company in their advertisement. All advertisement cannot be considered CSR, but few advertisement still considered as CSR. So that is one of the good things. He can properly advise company, in-house lawyer, and simultaneously he can be always in the larger strategy team, as as uh, as a lawyer, and he can always be an appraiser for the that CA people also can do, but he can also do the if a social venture and if a startup companies are approaching. So these are the things which these three four things. Being a lawyer, he can be easily absorbed into. Uh, and if he's typically interested for the project, what he's liking, that is important. Whether he is interested in technology based interventions, or whether he is interested with the child and women areas, and with the health areas, and with even law activism is also in CSR. If you're extending help to victims, that portfolio can also be set up in the company. So you are helping them through interventions. Uh, these are manifold. He can be helpful to the company, and he can opt this into the area.
Abhishek, we hope that answers your question. I have a question from Pakhuri Bhatnagar who wants to know where and how does a company report about its CSR efforts?
See, in their AGM, annual general meeting, there is a clause that they have to uh, they have to put a specific statement about their activities, what they have done last year. Apart from that, most important part is, which is not available today, in their website. In each company's website, they have to categorically mention what is the last year fund and what is the this year fund, in between what is surplus. That means last year fund, if any, forwarded this year, and this year fund. So accumulatively, what is the fund for this year? In tune of this, what are the projects which is carry forward from last year to this year, and what are the projects we have initiated in this year? And simultaneously, a project means the volume of the project, the manpower requirement, the target of the project, and outcome of the project. This is thumb rule of the five boxes in any area people maintain. This is not available. This is the biggest, largest, and the most appreciating, day-to-day reporting you can get through, and most transparent thing, and most transparent, and to others to follow it. Somehow the other way, it is not available in all companies. Then you need not to go to ask anybody what is your project, what is you are doing, what is supposed to be happen, why half of the questions are answered with that website link, if it is. Second is that you have to give a proper auditing statement of your CSR expenses. Here is the criticality. Until unless CSR audit happens, so you cannot match with the target, outcome, and the expenses. So you can simply say we spent this on this title of the project. So it is not done. Something of the other way. That is still being done by the CAs, and they're, I call it, they're innocent. Whatever the information passed to them, they sign it in a way. But there is a qualitative gap in that angle. That is, what is the outcome to be happen, and what is the benefit incurred in the company? It is not being cleared out of it. So these are the things which is not transferred, and reporting is lacking. Officially, reporting is done, but what's supposed to be, even in the rule, even in the government notification, the website and this system is there. Audit is not there. Audit, we have been realized in last 3 years that until unless audit structure comes, this will not happen. But they are flouting the website norms. Everybody almost.
So, in the given circumstances, what is required or what is the way to verify the authenticity of company's CSR contribution?
I told you, whatever the statement, we have to believe in this. Until unless, and most of the private and multinational companies are not in under RTI, and most of the bigger companies in PSUs, there are nearly 144 central PSUs, and out of them, nearly 70 companies are Ratna in nature, means Maharatna, Navaratna, Mini Ratna, Ratna in nature. It's a big number, and they are on their own world itself. So even it is not clear from their side also that I'm not mentioning name, but one of the companies is sitting on 1200 crore. One of the companies 750 crore. Could you even imagine? So half of the city face can be changed. So, although this is not coming up properly. Accumulating this to these funds are huge in volume, and interestingly, CSR is not the government's fund. It is your own fund. You are putting your own basket, your own kitty, and there is a law. You're supposed to spend in a specific manner. And whenever they say that we spend it with the support of the bill and other things, we have to believe it, because our non-structural issues are there.
All right, sir. With this, we come to an end of Lawsikho's webinar with experts. We
Great.
wholeheartedly thank you, sir. Any closing thoughts for the people watching us right
So today's topic, I believe it was just for the near future, present and near future. So I openly talk and as candidly as possible. I mentioned that present context, but near future is really good, really good. And I'm saying it will be going to be brighter. And particularly, again I am saying what I said, that it is for the 20s and the 30s people, those who are going to enjoy out of it. So be hopeful, and it is going to be happen. That's my encouraging note.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time today. We were extremely delighted and honored to have you on our show. Thank you so much once again. With this, we come to an end of Lawsikho's webinar with experts. I'm Aditya. Do not forget to do not miss out on today's webinar. That is an hour with Lawsikho with Mr. Amish Agarwala. Today, he'll be talking about NDPS Act. I'm Aditya signing off today from Lawsikho's webinar with experts. Today, we had Dr. Debasis Bhattacharya with us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Press the bell icon as we are going live every now and then from today onwards. Have a great day ahead. See you at 8 only on an hour with Law Seco. This is me signing off. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you,
you so
dear.
much.
Thanks.